KaVontae Turpin finally getting a good look. Didn't give up on the route this time, did he?
No, sir. No, sir. It's time to hit the expressway, which is brought to you by the On Time Experts. Let's do a little Cowboys thank you notes. I'd like to thank Brad Sham for that gem right there.
That's right.
Thinking of two guys, one booth. Speaking of G-Bag, why don't you get us started here?
I'm going to write my first thank you note to Brian Schottenheimer. Your head coach, especially on this show, as of late, has been under fire for getting a little conservative, a little bit scared when it comes to the points game, when it comes to just overall aggressive play calling and the risk taking. Because
I was going to do the exact same thing that you're doing.
And you can build on and you can fill in any gaps that I don't fill here. I think it's easy for a first-year head coach to get caught up in the I don't want to screw up mode and I don't want to disappoint. And I don't want to turn everybody away this quick, right? So that's understandable. But at the same time, whenever you're coming out of the bye, you make 2 trades, you win 3 in a row, you beat the 2 former conference champions and Super Bowl representatives in the process, and you're selling us this dream that you can make the playoffs and that you could steal the division away from Philly after beating them. You need to start acting like it on the field. And so I know it's too little too late, but I feel like especially...
How many years have we been clamoring for them to just throw the ball down the field to Turpin on a go route?
Oh, yeah. We've been asking for that for so long. And this year, they've tried here and there. They've tried to get him open in space, which I will give Shotty a lot of credit for that. Mike McCarthy would come on these airwaves and talk all the time about, we need to get Turpin involved. We need to get Turpin involved. And you would target him once in a game. He would never actually back it up. Shotty is like, no, we have a weapon there. He is faster than anybody on the field at any given moment. And everybody knows it. So whenever you give him that space to let a play develop, and it goes to more credit for the offensive line on that play because it wasn't perfect. We talked about it with Jerry, too. Dak got beat up in that game. They held him up just enough for Turpin to get a stride and a half of separation, and it was over. It's nice to see that they didn't just give up on it, too, because I mentioned this, and if you haven't seen it, go to Bobby Belt's Twitter. He pointed out they ran that exact same play last week. Mm-hmm. And Turpin kind of stuttered and gave up on the route, so Dak overthrew him. And Dak immediately was like, why? Why did you stop? I knew what I was doing. You got to keep going. I'll make the throw. You're not going too fast. I'll make the throw. They ran it again. The exact same look. So I admire that Shotty... Whenever he says stuff, he usually tries to actually back it up, which is pretty cool.
I'm going to co-sign on the aggressive nature, but damn, they had the opportunity, did they not? They had the ball for almost 40 minutes. 38-44. Do you know how many third down attempts they had? 20. Mickey said earlier when we talked to him that in order for you to go 6 for 6 or to have 6, fourth downs, that means you had to be pretty unsuccessful on third down, and they were, 8 of 20? Yeah. That's tied for the most third down attempts this year by a team.
Sounds like a Philadelphia stat line.
It's actually the Rams, and it was actually just a few days ago, too. It was last week.
Yeah. It just sounds like an Eagles stat because of how confident they are in the dumbest play in football.
No doubt.
I like it. I hate that you're inefficient on third down, but I do like that you are getting the confidence as a play caller to say two things, honestly. You're getting the confidence in your group to say we can achieve this, but in my mind, that's him also doing the right thing in admitting that my defense is not going to stop much behind this, so we need to keep the ball.
Before I hand out my thank you note, I'd like to hear from the subject of my thank you note. Can you do that for me, Kevin, please?
No question. I mean, I love this game. I love any opportunity that I get to play it. And so with that being said, I mean, yeah, if I get to go out there, I'm going to give my best. I'm going to prepare the same way. I'm going to be the same player that you guys know. And so I understand, the reasons why maybe not. And if I'm approached with that, I'll handle that then.
I want to thank Dak Prescott for being Dak Prescott. And that's really it.
Sure.
I know that Dak to a degree, gets his flowers for being a good dude and a good leader, right? Everybody talks about how good of a leader he is. He doesn't give you like the old coach. He doesn't give you the Tom Brady answers, right? When Tom, was a quarterback, and Bill Belichick was the coach, and they, pretty much give you nothing. Dak talks to you like you for real, and he gives you thoughtful, meaningful answers. And every single time he does it, it's the right tone. It's the right thing to say. It's the right thing, and he's not doing it because he's doing it because that's who he is. That's what he believes. And I just, like most, have been incredibly critical of Dak and how he's played in the playoff the last 3 of his last 4 games. The 2 against San Francisco and the 1 against Green Bay. Where I'm like, I think he was overcooked, overhyped, however you want to call it. And that's why I've never been more frustrated with the Cowboys than I am this year because Dak looks so good. I want to see him in the playoffs, and I want to see him succeed so badly. Because he is that dude. He says the right things. He does the right things. Hands down, never misses a beat every single time. And just, it's a lot to ask for in somebody as the leader of your franchise. And I know it's not going to make up for not winning enough playoff games, Super Bowl, and I'm not even trying to say that it should. But just thank you for you being you, dude, because you're dope.
Yeah, it's nice to have the stability in terms of your leadership. That's one thing that this team will never fall short on as long as Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach. And as long as Dak Prescott is here as the quarterback, I know that the right guy is leading the charge, and you're seeing it actually translate here on the field, which I agree with you, Will. Probably the best I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I mean, this guy knows the answers to the test.
He knows the answers to every test, and I mean, he's surgical both in the meeting room, at the line of scrimmage. He does everything you ask him to do, which a lot of teams don't get that luxury. There's always something missing, right? There's a few guys in the league that come to mind that do all the right things in the same way, like Josh Allen is always going to answer the question the right way. I feel like Lamar Jackson, he's pretty soft-spoken, but he's always going to answer the right way, and he's going to play the right way too.
That's being brought into question a little bit lately, but yeah.
Yeah, the Sun put out a interesting article, which I'm not too sure if I believe much of it. Like,
that person's been covering the Ravens for a long time.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I've also read some of his past work on Lamar. It seems like he's also just not a fan of Lamar. So that could just be me. We could see how the offseason develops because, I mean, that conversation, opening up that can of worms, if Lamar could be on the move and where he could go, that would be...
Oh, my God. Along with the whole Burrow stuff and everything,
yeah,
I mean...
The quarterback market could be
chaos.
Very, very chaotic.
Absolute
but
chaos.
It won't be chaotic here. That's nice to know that you have that leadership, you have that trust, and... I mean, Jerry even mentioned it with us earlier today. He was like, Dak is making the most money in the league for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I know I still disagree with how they went about that and paying him. And I bet behind closed doors they would say, we waited too long and we probably paid a little bit more than we needed to. But I'm not looking at it in a place of regret because I know what I'm getting with him. Every single Sunday, it's consistent. The play might vary here and there, but if you ever question if he's the right guy, which we're in year 10, I don't know why people are still questioning if he's the dude or not. You can question the playoff success and all that because it's 100%
I think it's
true.
Totally fair.
Yeah, and it's totally fair. It's totally fair because it's true and it's real. But just watch one of the sounds from the sidelines videos from this season where Dak is going over to the defensive units and getting them amped up. And I mean, Jerry even said it to begin the season when the defense was even worse than it is now. Oh. And one of Kevin or Corey asked, so who's the leader on defense? And he goes, well, we got Dak Prescott. That's your quarterback. They rely on him a lot off the field. A lot. And he's the voice of reason when it comes to this stuff. And it's the reason that it hasn't totally fallen apart from a emotional standpoint, from a just at the podium standpoint. Obviously the on-the-field product has sucked this year. But that's why this team is so frustrating, right?
Right.
They do just enough right to keep you invested. Just enough, just barely enough. And the biggest right to me is having that guy lead your team.
Yeah. That's what. Do you have another thank you?
Oh, I have plenty I can give out.
Oh, okay.
And we want to hear yours as well. 877-881-1053, doing some Cowboys thank you notes as we do after each Cowboys game day here on the KNC Masterpiece. I'll give one to Malik Davis.
I mean, talk about just stepping in and stepping up.
Yeah, having a career day after Javonte Williams leaves the game with that shoulder stinger. Malik Davis led the way, and that is exactly what he did. He more than doubled his previous career high in rushing yards. He recorded his first ever triple-digit rushing yard game with 103 on 20 carries. Do that math, Will. 5.2 per touch. Pretty good. Pretty good. And I love that I get to write this thank you note to him because remember there was a point in time where he could barely stay on the team and he could barely get playing time. And if you don't listen to the morning show, one, bad on you, turn it on, leave it on. But two, Bobby has mentioned it, that Malik Davis struggled with a lot of the mental side of learning how to be a pro at first with the previous regime. And it took a lot for him to show up to practice and show up to game day. And now here he is. After they let him go, he finds his way back on the team in a very crowded room of running backs, especially when you think about the preseason, when you were talking about Javonte, Phil Maffa, Jaden Blue, and Miles Sanders all being considered for the starting running back job. But he still shows up, and now he's your true running back too, and he passes with flying colors and everything when it comes to the off-the-field stuff, but on the field with the ball in his hands. He is nothing short of fantastic in a secondary role. The only thing that I just hate to watch is when they ask him to pick up blitzes. That's the one thing I hope we don't have to do very much in the future, especially against, talk about this upcoming game. The Giants have a lot of talent on that defensive line. I do not want to see Malik Davis picking up a ton of blitzes in that game. I'd rather have a tight end helping chip and stuff because, oh boy, there's a good size mismatch there. But he was incredible yesterday. And for all the questions we had at running back going into the season, and heck, even midway through the season when it was, what the heck is Jaden Blue?
Yeah.
What is he going to do?
Right.
Who is the guy outside of Javonte? Because Javonte is coming off a serious knee injury and is going to have his days where they need to limit his snaps. And guess what? They just did in this game. Mickey mentioned it. They were kind of pitch counting him, and then he lowered that shoulder and took a man's soul away from him when he truck sticked him, and it kind of re-aggravated the stinger. But Malik Davis says, nah, it's okay. I exist too. And I love that running back ended up being a strength of this team this season after all the questions in the preseason. It just makes me happy.
I'd like to get a thank you note to the Cowboys defense for proving me right on Matt Eberflus.
Backhanded thank you note.
I mean, 8 yards per play? That's what you gave up.
Bad.
I had to look this up to see how many times, if and when that has happened in the NFL this year, and it actually has. That's like a college stat, giving up 8 yards a game. I've never understood it. I really didn't. I remember the day the Bears hired Matt Eberflus, and I texted Broadus, and I was like, what do you think of him as a coach? And he was like, well-liked, well-respected. You know, I mean, Brian didn't have a strong opinion one way or the other. But I was like, okay, because, you know, like, oh, he was a really good defensive coordinator. I'm like, all right. He was in Indy for 4 years as the DC, and they were right around middle of the pack mostly. I mean, top 10 defense in 2020, kind of near top 10 or close to it in 2018. Outside of that, it's just kind of whatever. And, man, I don't get it. I don't even know why he got hired here. And I can't believe, and I asked, Jerry about this earlier, and he said he almost didn't let Robert Saleh leave the building.
Yeah.
I was surprised when they did.
Yeah, everybody was.
I couldn't, I was beside myself with thinking, when you think you're crazy, when you're seeing something and, like, the rest of the world isn't seeing it, like, I think maybe it's some of my emotional intelligence I'd like to think I have, where I go, maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe it's me, right? The whole Jets situation, I'm like, the defense is not the problem. The offensive coordinator, he doesn't even want there. And he has, like, no control over what's happening over there, the offense, and it's all become, like, a huge mess. And then he goes over and takes over the 49ers defensive unit, and that's been a MASH unit. And look at them now. I'm like, and then Matt Eberflus gets the job. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. That's me. That's me. I'm crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy.
I'm the crazy one.
I've always wondered this because hear me out when I say this, it's probably not going to go the direction you think. The NFL is such a good old boy league when it comes to concept. When I think about play callers, like, people look at these coordinators and they say, oh, but they were at the front of this at one point. You know, like, I fell for it with Mike Zimmer when he came back a year ago. It was like, you know, the sim pressures. He is the father of the sim pressure. So he's going to bring all this knowledge because he created something. He built something, you know. And for Matt Eberflus, his upcoming was working with linebackers. So
somebody just texted in, it was a sympathy hire.
I could see it. I could see a world where they were honestly upset that they let him go in the first place and didn't promote him from that linebacker spot, coaching spot, and he left and got other jobs other places. So they're like, no, we got to right that wrong, bring him back. I could see a world where that's true, but back to the original point, I hate that the league does that, especially with guys like that.
Yeah,
like,
the recycled.
They are so committed to the idea of what they used to be, right? Because Matt Eberflus, once upon a time,
I completely agree.
He was really, really great at working hands-on with linebackers and teaching them and saying, you might not be good at this, but I can make you great at this. The league gets stuck in that belief of, 15 years ago, he was heralded for this. You know, it happened with Mike Zimmer. It happened with Mike McCarthy. You know, as your head coach for years, he goes and sits on his couch and lies his ass off about watching every angle of tape that ever existed in the world of pro and collegiate football at his house. He comes in, takes the job, and he looks like the same guy that left football.
You're gonna be like,
because
what are we
he wasn't
doing
good
here?
enough.
Right.
Exactly. But it was because, remember the work he did with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Remember what he was doing when they would never draft a number one receiver, but he would make guys look good outside of Devontae Adams? They would have a bowling ball at running back, and it would still work. You know, all of these things just because of what they used to do or who they used to be. That happened with Matt Eberflus here, and I hate it.
I love this, the 682. I want to thank the Cowboys. I put 3 GER on the season over 8.5.
Whew. I'm glad. Well, I hope you got it like that.
Yeah.
I hope you're
We're
not
going to get there. It's the best 8-8-1.
Yeah.
But I still, is that an over? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
Oof. Oh, that'd be a hard beat.
Is it a push?
Yeah. I mean,
it's a half game.
I mean, I think it's just, it's flat out wins. So no, I don't think it is a push. I don't think it would go there.
Good for you.
The 682 wanting to thank Overshone and Ravel for coming back after injuries and giving you some good to look at and hope for the future. I thought Ravel had some pretty nice plays yesterday.
Yeah, and sometimes I look at him, and because of his gargantuan size for his position, I'm like, oh, what linebacker made that play? Oh, no, that's your corner that you drafted. He is a mammoth at the corner position. You can tell every now and then he still has plays where you're like, yeah, that's a rookie that hasn't played football in over a year because he destroyed his knee. You can tell. And I saw some people way overreacting. I think it was on the Krosky Merritt touchdown where he kind of whiffed on a tackle, which he made contact. It just slipped through because he had a head of steam. He was already running at full speed, so I wasn't too mad at that. I was mad at the secondary level behind him that let everything else develop in front of Krosky Merritt. But, yeah, he was getting killed for a couple plays, but then he was making a few that you're like, oh, yeah, that's why people had a first-round grade on him if his knee was healthy.
Yeah, no doubt.